books about Black American jazz musicians primarily, or maybe solely, that were performing in Europe because it was much more comfortable for them to be in Europe than to be in America during the Jim Crow era, and they were treated so much better. And you teamed up with a photographer from that era who was taking pictures, and his name.
Yeah, whose father was the biggest jazz promoter in Italy at that time in the 60s. So he had, even though he was a young man at the time, he had unprecedented access. The cover of Coltrane's, what is the big Coltrane? I can't think of it, but it's,
well, the album that I love is called Ballads. And I'm sure that's not the one, but it's on. We play it almost every time when people are here for dinner, and we have one song on it called "Say It Over and Over Again," and that's sort of in the old days, people used to have a song. Couples used to have a song. So for my wife Lee and I, that's our song. Is "Say It Over."
How special. It's still such a special project. I think it's going to be a lifelong process with the Sounds of Freedom book. Last week, as you know, Wayne Shorter passed away, and he's in the book. So only a few left. George Benson, just a few people left that are in the photographs that are still with us. So a project that I'm super, super proud of, and we worked really, really hard. So
couple of questions. One is there are signed photographs, printed photographs besides what's in the book. There's signed photographs in kind of like a little pouch on the front cover. And I'm assuming those aren't real signatures.
They are. Oh, absolutely they are. Well, what happened was I went through boxes and boxes in Roberto's house, and then I found all these promotional photographs that these artists had given to his father. So what I did is I chose what I thought would be the most interesting, the most well-known artists, and I made exact copies of those 5, because as you know, Duke Ellington is in there. I think Louis Armstrong is in there. Yes, those were exact signatures and little notes that they made to his father.
And so those are in every book, the same photographs in every book?
Yes, because we only printed 300 of this handmade special edition. So yes, they are in every book.
Cool. And the other thing, so you only made 300 of the books entirely?
Yes.
And there's still some left, you're saying?
There's about 100 left.
So have you thought about having an event at the Hampton House?
I have not, but we can talk about that. I would love that.
I'm going to talk about that right now because have you ever been there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, to see one of your exhibits.
Oh, great. So I'm deeply involved there. Yes. And more and more every day. And there's a guy named Herb Gardner who's become kind of a impresario there. Like he put on a Shaka Khan show there.
Nice.
And he's got Diana Kroll, if you know her, the jazz singer. I think she's coming there. And he's doing all kinds of different things, among which are he blew up all the old photographs of people who performed there. Maybe he could do something similar with yours, where he put them, it was a motel and there were rooms that faced around a swimming pool that's now kind of filled in and made into a fountain now. And that's where performances take place. But what he did was instead of being glass in the windows, they're just sealed off. And so you have insets. And in that space, which let's say it's at least 40 by I would say 50 by 40 inches. He's put blow ups that fill the whole space of Ella Fitzgerald and
Yep.
Coltrane and Duke Ellington, et cetera, et cetera. And so maybe something similar could be
Oh
done.
my
with
God, yes, because these
Um,
photographs, even though they were taken in concerts in Europe, for me, it was bringing all of these artists home. Nobody has seen these photographs. No one before I did the book. Yeah.
And the point here, the photographs that he has, I don't know if they're photographs of people at the Hampton House. I kind of doubt it. It's photographs of people who performed at the Hampton House.
Performed, right.
So
right.
so Nina Simone and on and on.
Oh my God, we got all of those.
And so what I've suggested, there's a woman who I've also interviewed for the website named Kathy Shore, and she's done this whole series first on 101 survivors of gun violence. So people showing their scars and stuff. She's a photographer. Now she's got another one, which is going to open on Mother's Day, called Mothers of Victims of Gun Violence. And she already had a show in Philadelphia where they printed it on vinyl so it could survive the weather, and had them outside on the fence around a park. And she's going to do the same thing here, I think, in Overtown. But the idea of printing them on vinyl means they're, even though they're exposed to the weather, they'd last a lot longer. That's number one. Number two, I think if you want to sell all your books, you could do a book signing at the Hampton House.
I would love that. And it's not so much the selling. Everyone that has seen, as you know, these are historical photographs of a time when it was so hard to perform here. So more than anything, just to get the book the ones that we have left in the hands of the right people who are interested in this, in not only the civil rights movement, but in jazz and the history of our country, really. I would love.
And of course, when you say so hard to perform here, that's why all these people stayed at the Hampton House, because they would perform on Miami Beach, but they couldn't stay there.
Correct.
So they all stayed at the Hampton House. So we'll work on that.
I would love to, and I'm sure Roberto would come. And he took the photos. He met them. So even the anecdotal history would be so interesting for everyone.
So he's still alive?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were working with his son.
I'm working with the guy who took the photos. Wow. I made him go to the Arctic Circle. Wow. He's incredible.